or it could obviously be loaded up with bombs or something, and then driven into a barricade and detonate. People don't normally steal trash trucks. Maybe it is a prank or something, but I think it's a very serious threat. And by the way, no one's breaking that. No one else knows that. We learned this from police sources. We talked to the Secret Service about it, and they said, yeah, of course we're aware of that. And by the way, we don't want that information out. Well, I'm sorry. That information is out, and I'm just going to put it out. My gut says put it out. Obviously, whoever stole it may have done this also to just divert the police while they're planning something else. I don't think anybody knows, okay? Maybe the mafia or something, or some other group just stole the trash truck. But that's not really something there's a market for, selling trash trucks, because those are all run by different contractors or cities or municipalities. So you look at all the angles. A trash truck disappearing last night or early this morning is a very, very serious issue. And we made some other phone calls, and they were like, yeah, how do you know about the trash truck? So we're going to be watching that when you get a story out at Infowars.com. In fact, Biggs was in there earlier giving me more information. He's outside. He's on the street with the flag burners. He put a report out on it, yeah. And so we'll get this clipped out and put out his report as well. But look, if you see a trash truck and somebody trying to run people over, somebody needs to climb in that cab and take that person out. We'll be back. By the way, this whole Melania Trump thing is a total distraction. But obviously, this has been out for hours. I hadn't looked at it, that the Trump Organization, this is what Roger Stone told me yesterday. And of course, it's been confirmed now that it was one of her friends that does PR for him that took the speech that had been written by the speechwriters and basically added that part in there that was somewhat similar to what she had said. So, and they've offered their resignation, and Trump hasn't taken it. I mean, we have the president openly trying to start a civil war in the country. We have all this garbage going on, and we've got the media focusing in on this. This is how they distract things. And again, I don't know what Trump's going to do once he gets in. I mean, I hope he does the things he said he'll do, at least part of them. But I know Hillary's a master criminal, and that's why I'm opposing her. And that's what it comes down to. Who's hosting the fourth hour today? I mean, we're already into it right now, but I forgot to ask. Who's doing that? David Knight, always doing a great job. David Knight is going to be coming in. I do want to go to some of your phone calls. These calls just came in. I appreciate you holding. Again, D'Souza's gone now, but you can basically just put out your points to the rest of the general audience. Let's talk to Jesse in Texas. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, how's it going, Allie?
Good, brother.
Hey, it was kind of shocking when you said about the trash truck, because I have been thinking that there is going to be some kind of event more than likely planned at the RNC or the DNC. Probably my guess is it's going to be at the DNC against Hillary supporters or the BLM movement to get support for their side and to blame it on
the BBC, if a trash truck runs over a bunch of people, they won't say it's terrorism. And if it's a jihadi that does it, they won't say it's a jihadi either, because they control language, like Karl Rove said. They control reality. And so it'll just be an act of love if they kill a bunch of people, including children.
Yeah. But
they control reality, not you or I.
Yeah, no, of course. But it'll be I'm thinking it's going to happen at the DNC, but that is very strange that a trash truck, like you said, who steals a trash truck, there's no point for it.
Yeah, folks are really concerned about it, and they're looking for it all over the place, and they're going to be on the lookout for it. But if you're at the RNC and you see a trash truck, they're picking up trash, better look out.
Yeah, but yeah, you guys be safe out there, and thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that call. Let's go ahead and talk to Milton in Texas. You're on the air. Go ahead.
How you doing? I was just calling to ask, would you support a referendum for African Americans?
A referendum on what specifically?
African American exit.
An African American exit from the country? No, because you can't have in a republic a vote to expel people. Or are you saying African Americans wanting to leave the U.S.? I know some black nationalists want their own country.
African Americans don't really need their own country, just to separate like a Native American would. How they have a tribe and they Americans. So would you support African Americans trying to get that model?
I mean, I think if people wanted on their own to do that, that's their right to do it. I don't think. I mean, I wouldn't push that and promote that. I mean, I'm gonna put like 30 million people, like stick them in like in the middle of the desert somewhere. I understand folks like wanting to leave, say, what was happening in Europe with religious oppression or whatever, because then they wanted to be able to be Protestants or whatever. I mean, I get leaving if there was some new place to go. But if folks wanted to try to organize that and do that, that's their right to do it. I mean, I see something like New Hampshire, a free state project, where a bunch of libertarians get together on ideas, not on race, and then try to influence politics towards freedom. But that's a really good debate to have sometime. I appreciate that question. Sorry, Dinesh D'Souza wasn't here to be able to hit that. Thank you. David Knight's going to take over the baton. I'll probably want to take your calls. A lot of clips to play, a lot of news we haven't gotten to yet. So stay with us straight ahead. And more tonight, 7 o'clock.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show on this fourth hour of the Wednesday, July 20th, 2016 show. Of course, we're right in the middle of the Republican convention in Cleveland, and Alex was there live talking to Dinesh D'Souza and others. And I want to talk in this hour about another example that broke this week of political privilege. We hear a lot about white privilege. We don't hear the liberals wringing their hands over political privilege. Don't you think that's a bit of a problem? Well, we've got another example of it now with Julian Castro, the guy who is the Health and Urban Development Secretary. He has had an investigation, and like the FBI, they said, yeah, he broke the law. No foul, no penalty, nothing's going to happen to him. Okay, so we're going to talk about what's behind that. He violated the Hatch Act, but I think it has some ties with what Ruth Bader Ginsburg said about a week and a half ago when she came out in a couple of different interviews criticizing Donald Trump. It was pretty unprecedented. She was criticized for it from the Washington Post. Certainly not Trump fans there. A lot of law professors waded in on that. I think it highlights the fact that the Supreme Court has become nothing but a bunch of political activists who have been appointed for life and are totally unaccountable to the public. I think it shows the corruption of the Supreme Court. She was criticized in the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal. Many others talked about what she had to say. Eventually, she walked back those comments. But, quite frankly, and I'll make the case, I think she violated the Hatch Act as well. Not that anything will ever happen to her either. And I want to talk to one of the people on hold here, Garson in Missouri. Hang on there. I know you're a retired law professor, and I want to get your comments on this, since you're a law professor. I mean, it certainly looks to me like what she did was violate the Hatch Act. We're going to talk a little bit about the tempest about plagiarism. There was an interesting comment from Donald Trump. He said the media has spent more time analyzing Melania than the FBI did investigating Hillary Clinton. And that's true to some degree. You know what, though? There's no criminal penalty for plagiarism like there is for knowingly violating, planning and setting up an infrastructure to violate security law regulations that we have in our government. And real quickly, before we get to the Hatch Act, I want to talk to you about the economic collapse that we see happening in Venezuela and what's going to be happening in this country as well. We see the elites in Financial Times. They're talking about being concerned about the populist rage that's coming on. Of course, at the Bilderberg meeting, they were concerned about the precarious position of the proletariat, those of us on the bottom. The elites are taking notice. They think they have to do something. They're concerned about the rise of Brexit, of Donald Trump, and of other issues that show that we've woken up to what they're doing to us. And of course, they're admitting that their policies are destroying our way of life. But then they keep pushing back against anything that would change any of their policies. Here's a good example of what's going to happen to us if we keep going down this road of socialism, of globalism. Look at Venezuela. They've got inflation that is now set to top 1,600% next year. This is from Market Watch. They said inflation has been 480% this year. Next year, they expect it to be 1,640%. All right. Can you get your head around those numbers? Does that really mean anything to you? We talk about billions of dollars and tens of trillions of dollars in debt. And it gets so large, it's just a statistic. You really can't grasp it. Let's talk about what that means for a gallon of milk. If a gallon of milk was $3 last year with 480% inflation, that would mean this year it'd be $14.40. Getting pretty expensive. With 1,640% inflation next year, that same $3 a gallon milk from last year, next year would cost $236. $236. That's Venezuela. You know, Margaret Thatcher said, the problem with socialism, you eventually run out of other people's money. Well, you eventually run out of all the fiat currency that you print as well. You just can't print it fast enough. And you can't earn it fast enough either. Today we had a CNN article that's up on Drudge Report. Hungry Venezuelans cry at the sight of food. We mentioned this earlier this week, how you had over 100,000 Venezuelans cross the border into Colombia trying to get food. And as this CNN story points out in the first paragraph, they say pregnant women, children, even elderly Venezuelans crossed into Colombia Sunday after the border was temporarily reopened, allowing them to buy basic foods and toiletries, things that have become rare in Venezuela. Tearful Venezuelans had gone weeks without basic food items like milk, flour, toilet paper, so forth, okay? This is where this is headed. Where are we, however? The Financial Times is talking about the global elite need to heed the warning of populist rage. They say aspirants to power, such as Donald Trump in the U.S. and Marine Le Pen in France, offer clear, simple, and what they say, wrong solutions. What would be wrong? Well, it's nationalism, nativism, protectionism. I think that's a mischaracterization of some of what is being put out there, protectionism. But yeah, we should protect our own businesses first. We should put America first. You want to call that protectionism? Fine. It wasn't protectionism that started the Depression. It was the Federal Reserve. If you don't believe me, ask Ben Bernanke. He was the one who said, we did it. Sorry, we won't do it again, except following the same policies. They say the remedies they offer are bogus, but the illnesses are real. If governing elites continue to fail to offer convincing cures, they might soon be swept away. Let's hope so. Now, let's get this camera here on the top here. Let's look at this graph here. The big hit. Look at this bar chart here. The percent of households by country with flat or falling real market incomes from 2005 to 2012, okay? Italy, nearly 95% of the households in Italy have flat or falling real income. Second is the United States. Second is the United States. Now, Obama tells us that we're better off in every way. Really? Really? Let me tell you something. China is better off than we are. Far better, far more stable than we are. Because the people, even though their income level, even though their wealth level is far below that of the United States, they see it increasing rapidly. I saw that when I was there, adopting my daughter. Where the problems start is when people see their income levels flattening and falling, as we do here in America. That's about 82%, they're saying here in America. Now, the UK and the Netherlands, average of 25 countries, is about 70% of people in these Western countries see their income levels flat or falling. But here in the United States, we're higher than that. We're 82%. Yet Obama tells us everything is just fine. And they go on to say, citizenship of their nations is the most valuable asset owned by most people in wealthy countries. Think about that. Do you ever think about citizenship being your asset? It is. It is. It is your most valuable asset. They resent sharing this with outsiders. I certainly do. I don't see that everyone else in the world has a right to become an American and that we have to justify denying them that right. That's an inversion of reality that has been sold to us by the Democrats. And I would say that as they're bringing in, as we see virtually every day, another terrorist act, they go in and they bomb these countries. I've got articles here about another 50 people who have been killed this last week. You've got 21 civilians killed in an ISIS stronghold in Syria. That's just one town. France 24 is talking about. U.S.-led bombings in Syria killed 77 civilians, including many children, okay? This was on Monday and Tuesday throughout Syria. So we're going in and we're killing, we started this war. We created this civil war to overthrow a political leader that we don't like. We are arming and training ISIS.